everybody. Happy holidays. I want to welcome everybody and especially the incredible Sheila Kelly. Sheila, you've been on before, but can you I'm Dr. Scheuer, so let me just say that. I'm Kim Scheuer. I work for love.life but Sheila, can you remind people who may not have seen you on this before who you are and how you got here?
So I am Sheila Kelly. I'm actually a patient of Dr. Kim's. And my journey started in the summer of 23 when I saw Anthony, who is the founder of love.lifetelehealth. I never say his last name correctly, so I don't want to butcher it. I heard him on a podcast with Rip Esselstyn on the Plant Strong podcast. And I was in the middle of suffering with migraines basically daily and recovering from those and being on the pills every weekend, menopause symptoms, pre-diabetes. So I asked my husband, I was like, I think this is the answer. Can I go ahead and join? And he was like, absolutely. And so I had my first appointment with Dr. Kim on August 23rd. And on August 24th of 2023, I went on a whole food plant-based diet and I was able to cure my migraines. I've had 10 since then, and I was getting them, every day and living off migraine pills. So it has been amazing. I've lost 40 pounds. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. My liver function is good again. So yes, so that is how my journey has started. And obviously there's way more to go, but yeah, so that's my shortened version of my story.
Well, I love it. I'm so proud of you and what you have done, and so grateful that you are making yourself healthier and influencing others by thank you for being here. But tell us a little bit, just real quick, about your website, because you have an interesting story with the website, and then we'll go into breaking free from excuses. So let's start with that.
So it's just my husband and I at home. We're empty nesters, and my husband eats a standard American diet close to like more keto-ish. Well, he thought that maybe other people are in the same boat as us where you eat two different ways. And we found a way to make it work. So we started a YouTube channel called One Dish, Two Ways. And it's exactly that. We take one dish and we make it two ways, one for him and one for me. And then we show you how to serve it. And shockingly, if you sit down and you make a list of what both of you eat, you have way more in common than what you think. And many dishes that you make, your ingredients will overlap. So our latest video was about chicken tortilla soup. Basically, we had the exact same ingredients, except he had chicken and I had quinoa. That was pretty much the main difference. So it's a lot easier to do than most people think. I mean, I know we've been doing it a while, but that is why we started the YouTube channel. And so, yeah, it's going really well and it's fun for us and to share it with other people. So that is our YouTube channel in a nutshell.
And I would highly recommend it, because even as in my household, we're both plant-based, but I have learned so many cooking techniques, so many delicious recipes from you. And so please, if you live in a split household where you have one person eating a different way, or if you live in a household where everybody eats the same, whether it's plant-based or meat-based, it's great information. You will be shocked at how much you learn, and it's just fun. So, and delicious food. Oh my gosh. What did I make the other day? Oh, the cinnamon swirl pancakes.
Yes.
Oh, to die for.
Good. Good.
So yes. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We're here to talk about mental struggles and excuses and breaking through the excuses. Can you explain a little bit about your experience with that and what's been going on?
Yes. So I have pretty much been heavy most of my adult life. I turned 50 this year. So, once I lost that initial 40, the migraines got cured, I was feeling really good. Then it's the mental, Sheila, you still have this much weight left to lose. And then I was getting down about that. And it wasn't like I was going out and eating meat and cheese, but maybe more avocado than I should be having, or tortilla chips. And so I came to one of the appointments, Dr. Kim, and I was like, this is where I'm struggling. And so we talked about an excuse response sheet. And I was like, well, this is fascinating, because basically you're diving into the excuses you tell yourself to justify what you're trying to say to yourself. And it's tough, especially this time of year when you are surrounded by all the temptations, all the parties, all the get-togethers, all the stress. And so that actually really helped me to nail it down. Now, I'm not saying every day is perfect, but it does help you dig a little bit more into the whys you're feeling that way. And then what can you say to yourself when those moments come up? Because you have to fill the chart out when you're fed and well rested and in a good mood, not when you're hangry and then you're like, oh, I just got to write this down. So no, you've got to definitely be in your most positive self when you are coming up, because we all have a different thing that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel good. So the first one is, well, I deserve a treat, or which a vegan treat, a latte made with non-dairy milk or an indulgent food. And I sat back and I thought, but that doesn't actually make me feel better. So I really deserve to feel good. And the treat is that I do feel good and that I'm taking care of myself. So maybe I need to go for a 20-minute walk with the dog, or maybe I need to make a non-dairy, nice cream or something that is a little more towards my health goals. Yeah. So going through those has definitely been eye-opening for me.
I think it's great. I mean, I so often we have an excuse for everything. I don't have time to work out. Well, then what do you say to yourself? What's the response? If in your head you're thinking, I deserve a treat, or I don't have time. And so your thing of, I deserve to feel good is great. I love that. When I say I don't have time, I'm like, the most important thing for me is my health. I do have time. Just do it in the morning, or do little exercise snacks during the day. Even 10 minutes is better than not doing anything. And so what are some of your other excuse responses?
It will take too long to lose all this weight. So why am I bothering?
Interesting.
And my response to myself is, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I didn't gain the weight overnight, and I'm not going to lose it. And I can't judge myself against other people's journeys, because everybody's journey is different. And over the years, any diet plan I've ever been on, for my body, I almost have to eat perfectly. I'm not someone that can do the 80-20. Number one, I'm a food addict. So one little bite of something could send me down a spiral, where some people can do that. Some people can have a cheat day and they can get right back on it and they're fine. That I cannot do that. And accepting that and knowing that that doesn't make me a bad person, because that's a lot of it is, right? You're like, well, why can they do it and I can't? Well, that's because that's their journey and not my journey. And those are two different things. But it's hard. I mean, in the world, basically, if you're not perfect, then you're not good enough. Well, that's not true. You're good enough just as you are. You're just working towards getting yourself healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. That's a very similar one for me. One of mine is, but I really want this, or I crave this right now. And so my thing is, because I also, I have a food addiction problem. And so I've found over the years that it's so much easier for me not to have that first bite, because if I have that first bite, I'll have the whole thing. And I was explaining to you before we started that I was just on a trip with some friends, and there was these chocolate chip cookie rolls, of chocolate chip cookies on the counter for 2 weeks. And every night I have to say, no, you can't have one because you'll have all of them. And I've discovered over the years that it's so much easier for me not to crave even worse. Because if I had that cookie and then the whole roll, I would want that every single night of the trip. And it would be so hard. And so not taking that first bite and realizing it's an addiction for me is a really good thing. So, it's easier for me to say, I will feel so much more proud of myself tomorrow if I don't eat this tonight. And that's one of my, and then congratulating myself the next day. Like,
Yes.
Yahoo, you didn't do it last night. How proud are you of yourself? And it really made a difference in me to switch over that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so helpful. And it's funny because people think, I mean, I've been doing this for 14 years and they think, oh, this is easy for you. No, it's much easier. It's so much easier, but it's the holidays. Everybody has parties and, unhealthy foods around, and the environment makes it more difficult at this time of the year. But I'm going to be so much happier with myself January 1st to start the year saying, dang, you did good in December. You got through those holidays. And so that's good.
Well, and we talked a bit about that before the interview is, if you think about it, everybody's like, well, I'll just start January 1st. Why are you waiting? I realize there are temptations everywhere, but I heard this somewhere years ago. But if you think about it, we have 20, well, no, not 20. How many? 11 days left, 10 days left of the year. Let's say you eat 3 meals a day. Not every one of those meals is there going to be a holiday gathering or something. So you might have a few meals that you're going to be indulgent and you're making that choice, and that is fine. But all your other meals can be healthy. You don't have to wait till January 1st, cut it all off. You could slowly start and then maybe get a bit more serious on January 1st. But even if I do have something that I know, like the tortilla chips, it's the very next meal I've got to get back on, because I can't just wait till the next day or the next week, or that's just prolonging. That just goes back to the excuses I tell myself. And I have to stop myself and get off this list and go, what did I say to myself when I was fed and well rested? And this is why I don't do that. So, but it's tough. I mean, it really is, because January 1st is that big old, let's start all our goals then. But we don't really have to start on January 1st. We can do things now to make it healthier for us, I guess. Yeah.
And it's interesting. One of your excuses is, this is hard. I love your response. Tell me your response.
Pick your hard. It's hard going to a party and eating a bunch of stuff and then feeling sick the next day, or in the bathroom the next day, or the clothes don't fit. That's hard. So really, and one of my coworkers is the one that said that to me one day during this journey. And I'm like, she's right. Pick my hard. What is my hard going to be? Because everything's hard. Just, yeah, when she said that, it was a very good, poignant thing that, made sense.
Yeah. That resonates with me. I love that. So tell me some other ones of yours.
I don't want to burden others with my food choices. And my response is, I deserve to eat well and be heard. Now, most of the people in my life are very sensitive to that. And they always say, what would you like? Or what can we provide for you? Which is fantastic. But when I go out to eat and things like that, I'm a little bit more shy about saying, because then I think, well, I'm just this, overweight girl. Why do they need to listen to me? And I shouldn't think that way. And if I'm being super shy, then I try to go more for like the salad, because I can easily say no cheese or meat and then a baked potato. But if it's a combo dish and you need to say, like, could you not put oil on it? Sometimes I do kind of shy away from speaking up for myself. So yeah, I have to think to myself, no, why can I not be happy? If somebody was allergic to oil, they would say, I'm allergic to oil, don't make it. So yeah, standing up for yourself when you're not feeling positive about yourself is hard to do. And so I've really had to coach myself when I know we're going to go out, and sometimes you know where you're going and you can call ahead. Sometimes you may not, just depends on, what's the situation. So yeah, it's a hard one, standing up for yourself in a restaurant or when you go. So most of the time, if I'm going to a party, like last night, we had a gathering and I made like a main dish salad. It had brown rice and arugula and veggies and fruit, and everybody there liked it. And at least I had something substantial to put in my stomach, because if I just brought a salad without the rice, I'd have been starving by the time I got home. So, right. Advocating for yourself is something you have to learn how to do, for sure.
Well, I love it. I think it's so important that you treat yourself with the love that you deserve. and also that you treat others. And so, I always think about when I'm going to an event or something, well, would I bring an alcoholic alcohol? No, I would consider their addiction, their needs, and I would bring something healthy. And so I think it's a way to show your love by bringing delicious food. I mean, I love I love your website because your Facebook or your YouTube channel, because I love to learn delicious, healthy things that I can bring to others. And it's awesome. So it's great to lead by example, but also to treat yourself and the other people that you love with the love of feeding them healthfully, which is kind of neat. So,
thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's go for another one.
Okay. I have too much to do and I am too tired. Okay. So what I do, it's just the weekends. We work outside the home. And so there's chores to be done. Some weeks you don't get as much done during the week. And then you sit back on the weekend, you're like, darn it, I got all these things to do. So I just sit down and I make a list. I love a list because you can check off the list. And I make the list and I do something off the list. I try to force myself to do the stuff I don't want to do as much. If it's food prep, I'm all about that. Like, I'll do that any day of the week. I'm excited. But sometimes the cleaning is not my favorite. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a bad cleaner. That's not my fave. So I'll make myself go clean. I set a timer, 20 minutes. The timer goes off. I can sit down, take a 10-minute break, maybe have a cup of tea, and then I get back up and I do it again. And magically, by the end of the day, you've gotten a lot of things accomplished and you did get some rest time in there. And sometimes you get a little more motivated and then the timer goes off and you just keep working. But you've just got to, and then there's other times like my mom will say, well, that will be there tomorrow. Maybe you do need rest. Then maybe you do need to rest for an hour and then just put that off till tomorrow. Because we all know a lot of things aren't going anywhere. So that's another one that I really have to, especially this time of year, because you're so busy trying to do all these other things that you still got to get all the normal things done around the house. So make a list.
I love it.
Check it off. Yeah.
I love the small chunks. Instead of going to big chunks, go to small chunks. And that has to do with the food too. You talked about what's your next meal going to be? Okay, so maybe I didn't eat great this meal. Let's make the next meal. Make small chunks. So you don't have to think about, oh my gosh, for the rest of my life, I have to do this. You can say, what's the next meal? Or I was thinking while you were talking that I don't have time. It's so interesting because after I eat, I tell my patients, and I do this myself, you need to get up and do something. And so that's when I do the dishes so that it's done and I'm moving. And that helps improve sugars. It helps it helps digestion and everything like that. So I like your list idea. I love checking off things. And sometimes I think that's great. I think that's a great one. What's another one?
Regarding your movement comment, because you're always telling me to move. Well, now it's colder out for where I live in Central Illinois. So going outside at lunchtime is not always the best, and we're super busy. So I have a little bicycle thing underneath my desk. So I'll go back and I'll do my pedaling throughout the day, but I try to do like 10 or 15 minutes normal, or I get to my sit stand desk and I'll stand for 15 minutes so that I'm getting that. And That's another thing we should cover, which kind of covers a lot of other things. I try to do 45-minute workouts, but with my work schedule and with everything going on, I was literally not getting any workout in for a couple of days. And I thought, this is stupid. You're trying to do that perfection again. No, do a 30-minute workout, which you do have time for, and then you can still make all the other commitments that you need to do. Yep. I just set that, okay, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be 30-minute workouts. That's better than nothing. And I do feel so much better after it's over. I gave that time to myself. Nope, it's not 45 minutes, but it is 30 minutes. So yay for me. And now I can tackle my day because I took care of me. So
I love that.
Sometimes you just have to adjust your expectations because life there's ebbs and flows, and you just have to give yourself the grace and find a different way.
Yep. And I like to connect it with something I do. So I brush my teeth, I do push-ups. I brush my teeth, or I do push-ups and really squats. So I do both, my arms and my legs, right after I brush my teeth. And I'm like, oh, I don't have time for this. Yes, I have 30 seconds or in a minute or 2 minutes to do it. And I get that in every time I do brush my teeth, which if I'm eating blueberries is 3 times a day. And if I don't eat blueberries, it's twice a day. And also I'll go and do 10 minutes of jump roping, of skipping, because it'll get my heart rate up. And it's only 10 minutes, but it's 10 minutes is better than nothing. Yes. I love that you say that. And so we can all do a tiny bit more than we think we can every day, whether it's early in the morning, right before bed, during the day, getting up and moving makes a big, huge difference.
And filling your own cup, because if you don't have anything left to give, you're not filling your cup. So you've got to fill your cup. And that for everybody's different. For me, it's movement, it's prayer, it's healthy food. It's just whatever you need to fill your cup, because if you have nothing left to give, I mean, there's just nothing left. There has to be self-care in there. Otherwise you're not helping anybody at that point. So it's been really hard for me to do that for myself this year. So that has really been working on, and it makes a big difference. I'm a much nicer person at work and at home when I'm doing something to fill my cup every day. And for me, it's morning, because I'm just a morning person. So that I know some people are night people. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so interesting because you're a giver, but so many of the people who are givers give to everybody else and don't give to themselves and don't give themselves that grace. And I love that you're learning to give yourself that grace and to take care of yourself so that you can help take care of others in a better way. I love it. There was one, number 4 on your list that you sent me, really hits me. Interesting. Can you explain that one to folks?
Yeah, let's try not to cry. So it says, I will always be the fat girl, so why bother? I have been overweight almost all my entire adult life. Actually, as a child, I was even a little bit. And when you start to put yourself in that category, you almost invent that everybody else thinks that about you. That's you. We almost always, what we think other people think about us is not correct. So I had to come to terms that I kind of almost believed that about myself. And so all summer I have been working on that, because that's not the case. Mm-hmm. The answer is I am worth taking care of myself, and I am. And accepting that and to yourself, it's hard, because I'm 50. So I subconsciously had this in my brain for so long. And when I started working through all of this, I thought, wow, I think honestly, deep down, I believe that about myself. And am I self-sabotaging by all these other things? Like the other things I'm telling myself, I don't have time. And when I started recognizing that, I was like, no, I am worthy. It's not, I'm a person. Yes, I carry weight, but we should not say I'm a fat person. I am a person living in this world who has some weight to lose. Yes, but I am on the track and I'm getting healthy. So why am I putting myself down? So it's been a lot to work through, and, loving yourself to know that that's not the label I should be putting on myself.
Well, I can tell you that, 1, I love you. And so I'm glad you're starting to love yourself. And 2, I completely get that, because I struggled with weight from the age of 13 when I stopped growing up and I started growing out till I was 47. So similar ages to when we started this. Now I'm 61 or 2. I can't remember. I'm over 60. My birthday's coming up. I never remember my birthday, what year I am, what age I am. But I can tell you that this year, at one point, I looked at myself and I'm like, wow, you're not big anymore. So this is over 10 years later. I'm like, wait, you're not a big person anymore. And I've still been thinking, I always think I'm big. And so it's an interesting thing that it takes a while to change that view of yourself, but you should never change the view of yourself that you are worthy. Whatever, we're in this for health. You came to me for the migraines and healing that. And then you've healed so many other parts of your life. Mm-hmm. And the weight is a byproduct of that. And it's great that you're doing this because you're so much healthier than you were a year ago. You're so much healthier inside and out, but you are so worthy, whether you have the weight on or not. But it's hard. It's really weird to be, in my family, everybody was thin when I was growing up, and I was the big one. I was the heavy one. And now everybody's heavy and I'm the thin one. And it's like such a weird thing. And I wish everybody in my family would eat like me because they would be healthier too. But you have to love yourself. And I love that you are starting to love yourself. It makes me very happy.
Thank you. It's like I said, it's definitely an everyday reminding yourself, sometimes multiple times a day. And that's something about this excuse. There's some days I'm like, whoo, I am crushing this day. I'm not tempted by that. I'm not getting mad about this. And the next day I'm like 7 a.m. Oh my gosh, like everything's bothering me and there's food everywhere and I just want to eat it all. And I'm like, so it's like, it's not a one and done is what my point is. Like,
right.
Some days you're going to need a lot more of the self-talk and other days you're going to be like, I am crushing this day. So yeah, and sometimes multiple times you have to remind yourself throughout the day. So for those out there, just know that you're not the only one that's struggling.
Exactly.
We're all in this together and we all deserve to be healthy and love ourselves. I mean,
I love
what
it.
can we do to prove that for ourselves? How
do you keep these in the front of your head? Do you have this sheet around your house or how do you do that?
So my planner, I take it, it goes in my work bag. It comes home with me. So at work, it's open so I can write the plan in. And this is the back piece. I almost forgot this at work because my planner's left at work. So I came home to do the interview and I had to remember to bring this. And then when I come home, the planner's on my thing. So unless I'm out and about, like doing, errands or whatever, I do have this where I can look at it because yes, I need to look at this multiple times in a week to remind myself of what I said when I was, when I know I need a response, when I've got those doubts.
I'd love to know if people in the audience have any excuse responses, but I don't know. Are there, but while they may be typing it in or we might be getting some up, Sheila, are there any other that you have?
No, I think that was all of them.
Okay.
Yes, that was all the ones I have written down that I struggle with on
a regular basis.
Not a lot,
yeah.
But,
Well, to summarize, I think a couple of things that you've said have really hit me. One is having the excuse response sheet, because that's helpful to just remind yourself when you are in the middle of the excuse that you've already thought about this before. What is going to be my response when I make an excuse to have something? Another thing is perfection is the enemy of better. So work on forgiving yourself, taking care of yourself, and you don't have to be perfect. You have to be the best you can be. And each day getting better and better is great. Another is don't wait. Don't wait for the New Year's. Don't wait for your birthday. Don't wait for something else. Do it. Start today and start, whether you start completely or start in little increments, it doesn't matter. Whatever works for you. For me, I started all in at once. It sounded like you started in all in at once. And the more you do it, the more impressive results you'll see quickly. But we all stumble. Every single one of us do. And the most important thing is if you stumble, don't berate yourself. Love yourself. Treat yourself like you would a friend. Get right back on at the next meal, and so those are a couple of things that came out to me.
Once you, after you have struggled, once you get back on, you might within a few days think about what made you go off. Like, was there, a trigger? Was there, like, maybe it's something you can learn from for the future. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, but sometimes it takes us a couple of days to analyze, well, what happened? How did I derail myself? And then analyze that a little bit. So
I want to read a couple of really quick comments in here, just because I think you should hear these. Prioritizing our wellness isn't selfish. I love this conversation so far.
Thank you, Christy.
Yeah, I love these ideas. Thank you. Wow, so powerful, Sheila. And Beth wrote, "You're crushing it. You have to be proud. You should be proud of yourself." And I agree with that. So thank you so much for bringing this to everybody, because you are amazing. Again, your website's incredible. I love it. I get so many cooking tips from you, but also it's so nice to see how you can make one meal 2 different ways with small adjustments. It doesn't have to be a big deal to make something for the person eating in your life that eats differently the way than you do, you know? So thank you. Do you have any last comments?
I don't. Just love yourself and know that any change you make for your wellness is just going to make you feel better and make you be able to go out in the world and just share it with others. So yes, you're worth taking care of. Absolutely.
Community is so important. So if you need help with this, anybody listening here, visit us at telehealth.love.life. We are all, we have a community of people just like Sheila, just like me, who love to help each other get as healthy as we can. And I mean, you inspire me all the time. I stay on this track because of you. I hope you stay on the track because of me. And all the doctors at telehealth.love.life are on the same track. We live the same lifestyle that we prescribe for our patients. We've had our own struggles. We had our own successes. So if you need help with this, come hang out with us.
Yeah.
And thank you to Anthony for starting this and for your weight loss journey, which has inspired so many people. So everybody have a wonderful end of 2024, an incredible 2025. Here's to health, love, and peace to all of you. And Sheila, again, thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Kim.